Hello, and welcome to the Gers TV. How we doing, guys?
All good. I'm better this morning than I was after the game yesterday. I think after the news last night that he's finally gone. We can all look forward again.
Yeah, the news we all wanted. Gordy, how are you, mate?
Brilliant. Monday Blues have disappeared. Just to be honest, I've been thinking about it all day, and the overarching feeling for me is just relief.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, I'm the same.
Yeah, things were hitting a boiling point, and it was almost the point of no return with the disconnect between the manager, the board, and the fans. So it was the right time, and just relief, to be honest.
Mm.
I mean, it was inevitable. I don't think anybody could say they never saw it coming. It was more or less a case of when it came.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the scenes after the game yesterday, I mean, as a football club, we cannot have our manager leaving out the back gates of after football games. Like it's not a good look whatsoever, you know. So there had to come a time where they put an end to this absolute disaster, and it was yesterday. But to be fair, it's weeks too late in my opinion. You know, we are 32nd out of 36 in the Europa League group stage. You know, lost both games, 2 games we should be winning. We are 8th in the table now. And we played some of the easier games that we have, you know, especially the away games. You know, we've not, you know, been able to keep a clean sheet away from home in over 20 games. But if you look at the games that we've dropped points in away from home, you know, games that really we should be winning. We haven't yet gone to like the tougher places, you know, like your Celtic Parks, your Potocchis, etc. And we're already, you know, so far behind in the league, and we've still got that to come. So yeah, about time. But I kind of wish it was a few weeks earlier because maybe we'd. Wouldn't be in as much of a mess as we are in now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the writing was on the wall at half-time against Bruges. I think after that, we all kind of were thinking when. I would just like to think that because of the delay, that they have somebody in mind. And as you'll see, guys, on the screen, we have got the board have came out today, the owners, and made an announcement. If one of you guys want to read it for me, so on the screen.
I can't see anything.
I'll let Jay take the honours.
It's on the comments.
Is it?
It's on the comment section. Sorry.
Comment section. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'll do it. So letter from the owners. Dear supporters, as you have seen by now, we are making a change at Rangers and have parted ways with Russell Martin, Matt Gill, and Mike Williamson. With thanks for their hard work. When we took over the club this summer, we shared what we want to build for Rangers, to win trophies in Scotland and be able to compete at a high level in Europe. We know achieving these goals will take some time, but our performances and results have not been good enough. We know you are frustrated. We are too. We did not get this right, and it's our responsibility to fix it and get us back on track. A rigorous, thoughtful recruitment process is already underway, and we are treating it with the urgency it deserves. The two of us are deeply involved, and the evaluation will have our full attention until we are confident we have a leader with the character and skill set to deliver results. Moving forward, we are fully confident in our players who possess the talent and determination to succeed. That is everything I've got in the comments. Is there any more on that?
That's more or less just it. I think it's I'll give everybody a chance to say their opinion on it. But first of all, I would say it's a welcome bit of dialogue from the owners. At least have done that, but it's a bit long-winded for me. It's basically the two guys are saying that they fucked up and they're going to start again, but this time they're going to get it right, and acknowledging the fact that the fans have been loyal throughout all this process, and highlighting once again the hard work they're doing behind the scenes. But we just have to hope they don't get it. They can't keep making mistakes like this. They need to get the manager. It needs to be the right man this time. Gordon, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, I think it was as close to an apology as we're going to get without the manager coming out and just saying we're sorry for the last 3 months. I think, you know, it's quite telling that, as far as I can see from the statement, they've kind of just got to Thelwell and Patrick Stewart from the statement. But what they have done is they've actually said they've got full confidence in the players. So basically, reading between the lines in that statement, it's probably more important what's not in it than what's in it. Reading between the lines, they're basically saying that they've made a hell of a mistake appointing Russell Martin in the first place, and they've woken up to it. And I think that this statement was much needed, because the statement last night was 2 sentences, a few words. So this has been thought of today. It's been put out there. It's as close to an apology as we're going to get, and they've said in black and white, we got it wrong. And I respect that. Yeah, a couple of weeks too late, but ultimately, if we've got a new board that can realise their mistakes and errors and actually say to the fans we got it wrong, then yeah, okay, fair enough.
I would agree with that.
And they probably won me back over with that statement.
Yeah, well, action speaks louder than words, but they've came out and have spoke to the fans, so I'll give them that. Jay, what's your take on it?
First off, I'm really happy that they have actually come out and given us a statement like that, because they didn't have to do that. But that communication piece with the fans is massive, It's like Gordy, you said straight away, like, they've won you over already, because of that statement. And I feel like it's those type of things. They're not going to get every decision that they make right, as long as they own the decisions that they don't make right. Don't hide behind the scenes and just be some sort of faceless entity. Actually come out and engage with the fans, and so I'm really happy they've done that. However, we have sacked Russell Martin, but he is not the only problem at the club, right? And we've said this numerous times in this podcast. Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell are as responsible, maybe potentially even more so than Russell Martin. Russell Martin, I have no doubts that he came into the job and he did the best that he could, right? But he should not have been put in this position in the first place. He would have obviously wanted the role, but he is not the right fit for the club and was never the right fit for the club. The fans could see it from day one, but they couldn't see it. Kevin Thelwell, even after we've had a bad start to the season in the first international break, decided it was the best time to come out and tell the viewers that Russell Martin is one of the best coaches he's ever worked with, etc., etc., etc. Like, you can't make a statement like that and back him like that in public and then sack him a month later. Patrick Stewart did the exact same thing with Philippe Clement at the start of the calendar year. I think he came out in January, backed him publicly, then sacked him in February. It is not a good look. Now, we are putting our trust, the owners are putting their trust in these two idiots to try and get the next appointment right. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter, who the manager is going to be, really, because I feel like with them two making the decision, not just on the manager's side of it, but on the players as well. The players that they're bringing in, I don't have any trust in whatsoever. 8 million for the likes of Schmidt, for goodness sake. I feel like with those two calling the shots and we have the football structure in place, we may as well not have one with them two in the club. So I feel like I'm happy Russell Martin's gone. Really happy because he wasn't the right manager for the role. But with them two calling the shots still, I don't have any hope whatsoever that we will get a manager that can lead us to success. And we'll be looking again in the summer. But this time it won't be with Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart.
The only thing I would add to that is I maybe read it wrong there, but the way I read it, I was under the impression that the Americans were going to be looking for the manager and pick the manager. That's what
I get from it as well, because it says we did not get this right, and it's our responsibility to fix this and get us back on track. The two of us. So he says that they say that quite clearly. The two of us are deeply involved, and the evaluation will have our full attention until we are confident we have a leader with the character and skill set, so on and so forth.
That saying right there, so they're going to be involved. Obviously, they're not football people, so they will be paying, and this is what the likes of Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell are paid to do, is to make these decisions. But clearly, in that statement there, they have no confidence in those two idiots making the right one. But I feel like they are in a situation where they're like, we've just sacked Russell Martin, we can't at the same time sack Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart, because you need to have some sort of structure in place. but they will have a tick next to their name or a red flag next to the name, whatever you want to say, because them two are on thin ice, I feel, with the owners. Because if the owners are paying, how much money do you think the owners are paying these two for? What they're paying them for? If they're going to take, I mean, these are busy people, businessmen, successful businessmen. They're taking their time out of their day, their full time, to come and sort the situation out because they can't rely on these two.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways you could look at it. The other way you could look at it is there is leadership. They're showing leadership. They're basically saying, we're the owners. It's our fault, and we'll find the new guys. And if we don't find the right people, it's our fault. But at least they're showing leadership there. I'm probably the same opinion as you guys with us. They probably lost a lot of confidence in these two, Patrick Stewart and Thelwell, but they don't want to jump the gun and sack games so quickly, especially with the power they've got with bringing in his boy and their team. But I just get the impression they're trying to show us, they're maybe not doing it, but they're trying to show a sign of leadership and responsibility and basically saying, it's our fault, we'll fix it. That's how I take it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back and what Jay said, looking back just a few weeks ago, and that statement by Thelwell, looking back at the words he said, that is incredible to go out and say that he thinks Russell Martin one of the best coaches he's ever seen, worked with, etc. I mean, that is a massive red flag for his judgment. And, they are not mentioned.
It's Car Crash TV.
Yeah, it's really significant to me that they are not mentioned in that statement at all. That's a massive, massive omission. And it's the chief executive and the sporting director are not even mentioned in the statement about a new manager. That's incredible for me. And I think I would love to be a fly in the wall in the meetings. I'll tell you that, because they must be absolutely raging because they've come in, they've spent. I know people say it's net 20 million, right? That means that we've actually spent 40 million on players.
I think it was a total figure like 34 million this summer.
Yeah, we've spent.
Yeah, but they've also referenced. Sorry, guys, but they've also referenced the fact that there's a lot of work needing done out with the football side. So this is time and effort, as you mentioned, and finance coming away again that we could be avoiding.
Yeah, I think that was also the finance side of it. I think one of the biggest reasons that we got rid of him now as well, because they're probably looking at it, half-empty stadiums in European games on the Thursday night. How much is that costing them? You've got the fact that we've lost 2 games in Europa League, 2 games that we would have won every year over the past 5 seasons or whatever. How much money is that costing them? The time, they had to act because of the whole financial situation. But this is why, if I was the owner, if I was Kavanagh and I'm looking at this situation and this clown, Kevin Thelwell, had just spent £8 million on a striker who they can't rely on to start games, who's yet to score a goal and we're in October. I understand, he's not played a lot of football in the past few years, and it's a new country, a new league, whatever, a new team. He needs to get up to speed. But the longer he doesn't score, the worse it's going to look for Kevin Thelwell. And that's £8 million that he spent on this player. And so why would you, as the owner, trust him with any more of your money? He's it's not. We haven't just sacked a manager. We have sacked statistically the worst manager in our history. How can we keep people at the club, the likes of Patrick Stewart, the likes of Kevin Thelwell, when they were responsible for bringing in the worst manager in our history? That can't happen. And I feel like that statement and the fact that they said that they're going to give it their full attention until they are confident in the new leader that's going to be appointed, right? Until they are confident, that shows to me that they're also, once the new manager is appointed and it has to get their sign off, that they're going to be looking for a new sporting director and a new CEO. And I wouldn't be surprised to see changes in those positions by the end of the season.
So I'll just add.
Sorry, on you go.
Sorry, just built this in my mind still. Remember that 7 months ago, 9-10 months ago now, Patrick Stewart's come out with a statement, an interview, and said he's going to launch a 6-month investigation into our whole footballing department. And this shambles as the end result of that. So where does that leave Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, he's no credibility left. I go into his LinkedIn account. He's getting absolutely hammered on that, and it's by businessmen, it's by guys that own their own companies and things like that. But everybody's saying the same thing. You wouldn't trust him to be involved in your company, so it's quite scary. Anyway, I put on the screen here, guys, the odds that William Hill had today on the next manager. I think we can safely say Stevie Clark at the bottom there is probably clickbait. Because he'll not be the next manager of Rangers. I'll come out and say that the new.
No, wait a minute. We've had this conversation 3 times now in the last 2 years, I think, or 4 years, 4 in the last 2 years, which is bad enough as it is. But we used to say that about Russell Martin, so you can't rule anything out.
So you can see on the screen here, guys, the odds in. It's Steven Gerrard 94, Sean Dyche 11-4, Kevin Muscat 4-1, Barry Ferguson 16-1, and Lampard 25-1, same as Steve Clark. Gerrard, that name's not going away. Kevin Muscat's not going away. Lampard, it's been mentioned a few times, and Barry Ferguson was the temporary manager. You've also got the Everton connection with Sean Dyche. If it was Sean Dyche, I would say that stinks of this, the Everton Pals Act again. Whether they could do a job or no, I would start to get really worried that every time we make a big move, it involves Everton. My personal favourite from that is Steven Gerrard. I think the board need to make a big announcement, and it has to be someone that will rejuvenate the support and get the support behind the board and win their confidence back. And Gerrard is worldwide. He's Hollywood. We know he's made mistakes in the past, but he understands the club and the league, and he would come straight back in here knowing exactly what the expectations are.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm a bit 50-50 with the whole Steven Gerrard one. Because he was at the club before, and he took us from a really bad place to winning 55, right? Which was an amazing season. My only worry is I would again be worried about the judgment of the people in the club and the lack of ideas that they're going to be generating themselves by going and getting someone that has and getting him back into the club just because he's won a league title here before. I'll be thinking, where are your own ideas on the future of the club? Because, and as well with Steven Gerrard, he's been out of the game for a couple of years now, maybe since he left Al Ettifaq. I'd be worried that things won't be the same, and then we get to that situation again where things are rarely as good the second time round. The sequels are never as good as the original sort of thing, and I kind of feel like we might end up going down that route if we go back to Steven Gerrard. It'll be like we're trying to do the 55 season over again, and when it doesn't quite feel like that's going to happen, it's going to be devastating, and we're going to be back in this cycle. I kind of want to, with the new owners, I want a fresh start. So for me, I think there's 2 names on that list that I would go for. Sean Dyche, absolutely not. That is literally, like you said, Si, that is the old Pals Act. I've worked with him at Everton. We need someone that knows how to win, right? And has won before in his life. What has Sean Dyche ever won? Potentially a championship, I'm not sure. But I feel like he's just not the right type of manager that I would want. And especially in terms of him being able to attract players as well. I probably wouldn't go for him. But the 2 that I would go for would be Kevin Muscat and Frank Lampard. Kevin Muscat, because he's won the league in Australia, he's won the league in Japan, he's won the league in China, he's currently top of the Chinese league, scoring more goals than any other team in the league. So he's looking at retaining the title there. So I would Kevin Muscat would be high on my list. But also Frank Lampard, because looking at the championship at the minute, he's done a great job with Coventry. They're top of the table, and they've scored 27 goals in 9 games so far, so averaging 3 goals a game. And having a look at the table, the next closest team in terms of their goals scored is Ipswich, who got 15 goals. So his team scored 12 goals in those 9 games, more than the nearest for goals scored. So things like that, I feel like he could excite the fan base. He gives you what Steven Gerrard gives you in a way in terms of his stature within football. He's got a lot of experience as a manager already, and plus, he's a winner. He's won. How many trophies did he win at Chelsea? He's won Premier League titles. I know that's as a player, but still, I feel like we need a manager that knows what a dressing room looks like for a winning team, and that can motivate the players, especially because we've got quite a few young players in the squad as well who can galvanise this team. As much as I love Stevie G, and if he was the chosen one and he came back, I'd be happy. I just feel like it would be a disaster because it will never feel as good as 55 did. So for me, Kevin Muscat or Frank Lampard.
I think the only thing, Gordy, I'll let you come in a second, and I'll ask your opinion on all of them above, but I'll just quickly add to that. I think the only problem with Lampard is he's doing so well with a lot less pressure than he'd have at Rangers, and it's probably his best opportunity to win a trophy as a manager, to win the league and get into the Premiership. So asking him a few months ago and asking him now is a different question. I think that would hinder us getting him. What's your thoughts on that list, Gordy?
Yeah, just basically, Jay's basically just reading my script, I think. Stevie G, I wouldn't be against it. I would get behind Steven Gerrard. I do think that there's question marks over him leaving a few years ago. If we got the full story or not, I don't know. Certainly get his version of it anyway. He knows what the pressure's like. He knows what the expectations like. He's experienced winning the league, so there's positives for sure. But will he jump ship in a couple of years? As soon as something goes against him again, doesn't get what he wants, will just leave again. But it's back to square one. And the second time around, will it work out the second time around? Sean Dyche, absolutely not. Like, that would be absolute. I don't think it would be a disaster, but I just fair enough. He might not have had an opportunity to play another style because it's like Everton and Burnley. So, relegation battles or keeping aside in the Premiership. I don't think he's got the skill set for an attacking, fast-paced team. Barry Ferguson came in with difficult circumstances. Not totally convinced. He's not got a great track record in football and management. Lampard, I just don't think he would leave Coventry right now. Steve Clarke, you're right. That's somebody having a laugh. You know what I mean? And so I think for me, out of that list, Kevin Muscat, for the reasons that Jay said, he's won league titles and he would bring a different dimension when it comes to transfers and the market and the players, etc. And if that's the, we always talk about this player trading model, etc., etc. But if he'll know that those markets inside out, and I'm sure there must be a couple of players in that league that could do a job here for a couple of seasons and get sold for millions like the other half of the city have done. So there's a couple on that list that I would think about. They're not on that list, but off that list, if I was to choose the manager, it would either be Muscat or Lampard. Realistically, I think Muscat's the realistic out of those two.
So the question I'm going to throw back to you now is, forgetting that list, is there any other managers that you would throw into the equation? I'll start off with saying Stephen Robinson at St Mirren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be against. I wouldn't be against having a manager that understands the league the way he does. I think that could be, it's worked for us in the past, and it might be the right formula moving forward as well. Derek McInnes is another one that I would go for, but it's again like he's top of the league with Hearts. I think that would be a hard. I don't think we're going to be a hard sell to him. I don't think we should be selling it. He should be dreaming of a move to Rangers. But at the same time, dealing with Hearts whilst they're top of the league is not. I don't feel like that would be a quick one to do, and I'm not sure if we would want to get into that. But I definitely, he's the obvious candidate for me is Derek McInnes.
Yeah, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, a year ago, about Derek McInnes, I would have said I would have hesitations. But now, the bar's now set quite low at Rangers, unfortunately, for a manager. I think Derek McInnes has shown he did well at Aberdeen. I know you get the sack for there. Did a good job at Kilmarnock as well. Just went to Hearts, are top of the league. I don't think they'll last all season, but promising start to the season. I'm going to ask you guys this, right? And again, it's such a weird question to ask because you just don't know the answer. Do you think Derek McInnes would leave Hearts right now, this second, to come and manage Rangers?
Yes, he's a massive blue nose. He's a massive Rangers supporter. He's no one of these guys that likes Rangers. He's a massive Rangers man. He didn't take the job the last time because he was lied to by members of the board, or no lied to, but let down, and asked to behave in a manner that isn't the way he was brought up as a Rangers man. And the legendary Walter Smith advised him not to take a job. So that's a good enough reason for what happened in the past. He's proved that he's good enough. In 2 weeks' time, they're playing Celtic at Tynecastle, and I fully expect that Hearts would win that game if he's still their manager. And that would tell me that they're candidates to possibly win the league this year. Mm-hmm. What an achievement for him if he was to pull that off. Would he come to Rangers, in my opinion, with the right deal? I don't see how he could refuse it personally.
But if looking at it, right, realistically, there is actually no better time to join the club, because you're joining after we've just sacked the worst manager in our history. So we are already, I never like to say rock bottom with the club, because we have been literally at rock bottom. But in this new era as well, under these new owners, you're gonna have money to spend. It can hardly get worse than it is now. So there's opportunity there for you. There is real opportunity there for you to come in. The league, the players in this league. What works. What sort of mentality and characteristics that players need to have when they sign for the club and when they want to play in Scotland and do well in Scotland. So for me, it's a great time to join the club. And if he was given it, I think he'd join.
Now, also, there's a lot of doom and gloom. The fact that we're 11 points behind Hearts, 9 points behind Celtic, and rightly so. However, if a new manager came in, the advice that I would give him, there's a great chance of winning the League Cup. They're 2 games away from winning it, and that would get the fans on side massively. The problem Steven Gerrard had when he was the Rangers manager, in my opinion, is he completely disregarded the league and Scottish Cups. He was only interested in winning in Europe and the league title. But this is a chance to win a cup. If they can beat Celtic, they should go on to win the trophy. It's a great opportunity for them. And then if they can claw back a few points, maybe 5-6 points up till January, till they can get a chance to buy their own players in, then who knows? I wouldn't be for giving up the league yet. But the big thing for me now is there's a chance to win a trophy, and it's only 2 games in it to win for it. And I would be massively focused on that.
Yeah, I mean, Steven Gerrard, one of his errors, I think, was his. I don't think when we say disregard for the cups, but he certainly, his main focus wasn't there. Again, from a financial point of view, then it made sense for the club maybe at the time to concentrate on the league and for Europe. But the sports want trophy. We want trophies. Do you know what? I said this, that's what I said last year. As far as I was concerned, the board probably thought Clement was doing a good job. Do you know what I mean? Because he won a trophy, he qualified, he got as far in Europe, etc. So it's just, I still don't know if the board's expectation and the fans' expectations are aligned. And that statement reassures me that they're here to win trophies. So, we've got to, the club needs stabilised. Now, I don't know if Thelwell and Stewart can come back for this, because they're tarred with this brush, and I don't know if they can come back from it. If they appoint Sean Dyche, then that's it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like for Thelwell and Stewart, that'd be it. Yeah. Because as you said, Simon, earlier on the show, that's just, and you said, yeah, but that's a lack of imagination, and for you, Si, it is just the old Pals Act, and I don't think the owners will allow Thelwell to appoint Dyche, but I'm sure as hell bet that I think Thelwell would want to appoint Dyche.
I would be very surprised if he's not spoken to him, put that way, if he's so close to his ex-Everton pals. Another name that's not been added there, guys, I want to quickly discuss is Davy Weir, because he was on the television at the weekend, and if he was to be appointed the manager, I would think it wouldn't be a coincidence that he was up in Scotland a wee bit like Beale did a couple of years ago. What's your thoughts on Davy Weir?
For me, no, not as the manager. He spent the last number of, I think, was his last role in football coaching, was it like at Villa, was it? Maybe assistant coach or something. I don't know where he was last, but it's been a while since he's been in the dugout. He has now made a career in the business side of football, and I hope we'll have a vacancy there soon. He should be in Kevin Thelwell's job. He understands the club, he understands the league. right? He knows what player. He's been at Brighton, right? And they're one of the best well-run clubs in world football. The amount of money they turn over with player sales each year is incredible, right? And are still able to compete and then competing for the European places in the Premier League. So I feel like he'd be the perfect person to come in and be that sporting director. But I just worry because of the amount of people that Thurwell has brought in, like his son, for example, into positions within the club, that's not going to be on the agenda, but it should be. And I hope the fact that he has been in Glasgow, that he might potentially be looking for houses because he wants to be back up north, and if so, then hopefully there'll be a job for him to come into as soon as he does.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the coaching side is his bag anymore, is his job anymore. I think that more kind of aligned with if not a CEO, then certainly some kind of maybe director of football or a role like that for Rangers. Certainly, he was very well spoken. It seems coincidental that he's up on the telly just this weekend. He knows what he gets. He gets Rangers. He gets that we have to win, and he's got that experience about bringing in players for other markets as well and doing really well, as you said, Jay, about the player trading. So I think he'd be a perfect fit. We just don't have a space for him right now, it seems. However, that may well change in the coming months.
A quick one on David Weir, like. The Hearts owner, Tony Bloom, he's also the owner of Brighton. So it would not surprise me if he ended up at Hearts in some sort of similar role. And that would worry me in a way because they're going to be making, because they're top of the league now, and they're going to be making potential appointments if that was to be the case, which I think we should be making. And if that is the case, I really fear that we won't be fighting for league titles. We'll be struggling to finish second, and that is a worry for me because we are quite far behind now. And if they start making those sort of appointments, it's we need our owners and the people at the football club to start making the right decision because they've made too many wrong ones so far.
So I think that it's a massive decision who becomes this bloody dog. It's a massive decision who becomes the next manager. But I also think a massive decision is also we need to get a couple of Rangers coaches, Rangers people back at the club. People that, because I see the people, apart from Russell Martin, I couldn't tell you who the other ones were, the assistant and the coaches and things like that. We need to get recognised Rangers people involved in the day-to-day training and coaching at the club and get standards back up. There's loads of people out there. Neil McCann's been mentioned a few times. A name that I would love to see as a Rangers assistant manager, probably wouldn't happen, but I'd love his assistant to be Davy Martindale. I think he would put arses when needed, but he's a very underrated manager in Scottish football. And I think as an assistant with the right man, he would do a great job. But I definitely like we need to get Rangers people back at the club, training and behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think Neil McCann is always very good with his analysis. I think he did a good job when he was assistant Barry. Again, he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to win trophies. He knows what it's like to win the league. He knows what it's like to play and coach. He's been a manager. So, yeah, I think that would be a good appointment. Somebody like Kevin Thompson, he seems to know what he's doing coaching-wise as well. Just getting back to your point about he didn't know who the coaches were. Mike Williamson was, as far as I can remember and recall, an average Newcastle defender who didn't really play regularly with Newcastle, but was in the first team in the squad quite a lot. And Matt Gilks, he's a name that rings a bell, but I couldn't tell you what he's done in football. And, when you're with Rangers, I mean, Gerrard had a great backroom team. I think Barry Ferguson and Neil McCann and Billy Dawes, etc., had a good backroom team as well. So the backroom team is just as important as the face. The backroom team is really, really important.
Yeah,
and
that was my point. Aye.
Yeah, so we need good coaches in there, experienced coaches that can develop players and get the best out of players. We've commented on it in this show, and I think everybody else has noticed it. The players seem to have regressed under Martin. So we need players and coaches. Invest in the coaching staff. There's there's only 3 members of the Russell Martin's back. There's only Russell Martin and 2 others that have left. So, you know, that says to me that there's not enough coaches at the club.
Yeah.
So invest in the coaching side.
And I definitely think we need to be getting Rangers men into that coaching side. You need a constant. If every time you sack the manager, you're sacking all of his coaches and stuff, you know, then you have to bring in a new manager, loads of new coaches, and they have to get to grips with Scottish football, with the league, with the club, etc. And you know, I feel like if you have a couple of Rangers men as coaches, maybe Kevin Thompson, Barry Ferguson, you know, Steve Davis, those type of people that just understand the club. So when the new manager comes in, they can already advise them and start to guide them in terms of the decision making. Like, you know, it surely can only be a positive thing. And this goes back to like the whole, obviously with Russell Martin, everything was always about like a philosophy and a way of playing. But at Rangers, I don't care about that. I care about winning football games. You know, I don't care about it needs to be played in this formation or that, you know, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Yep.
Get back to winning football games, win at all costs. But having Rangers men that have done that for the club is exactly what we need. So that's what I want to see for the new appointment. Bring some Rangers men back.
I think we're on agreement with that. I'm just going to check the comments.
I wouldn't say just for the sake of it though, but certainly people like somebody like Neil McCann, I think that's a no-brainer. You know, somebody that gets the clause being successful at the club. There's sort of Scotch has mentioned about Jermaine Defoe as well. Somebody like that. You know, coaches that can make a difference as well. Because Gerrard, okay, we all know Michael Beale hasn't worked out as a manager, but it was a really good setup they had. You know, Tom Coulshaw, Michael Beale, Steven Gerrard, really, really good, you know, setup there, and that's just as important. Martindale, I think, would be a very, very interesting choice for assistant manager because he'd be, you know, he'd be the one to get right into them at half time, and the manager comes in and calms it all down a little bit.
He would be the Archie Knox, that Archie Knox type of assistant manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether or not, I don't think that because of Rangers' kind of modern PC attitude towards life, I don't think he would be offered anything at Rangers. But certainly, I mean, somebody like that, an assistant manager, would send a statement that we're not going to tolerate any shit.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's my opinion as well. I just think he's a very underestimated manager. I'm just kind of weird. I'm just going to check the comments section, guys. We'll probably get another 5 minutes. What time are we at now?
Just about 10 past 8, mate.
So how long have we been on this meeting?
Nearly 40 minutes.
Right, we'll get another 5 minutes. Anything else you want to add then? I think we've caught up with the comments on it. It's kind of similar. The names that are coming up are all kind of ones we've talked about. Kevin Thompson.
What time scale do you think we're looking at for a new manager? Have they got? You've got to think that they've been planning for this for a few weeks. You've got to think there's been a succession plan. There should be a succession plan always. But
I think
what kind of time scale we're looking at, do you think, boys?
I think it has to be this week.
I thought the statement that they made, they kind of made out that it was going to be imminent. I thought that when I read the statement.
I really do hope that they have been actually actively looking, you know, in the market over the last number of weeks, because it was plain to see for everyone to see that this was never going to work out, right? Especially over the last few weeks. So I hope we're well on our way to appointing a new manager. We do need him in this week to give him a week to get to know the squad, the players, and to.
It's international break, so it's the ideal time to get somebody in.
It's the perfect time. So, you know, we need someone in ASAP. I don't want it to get to I think our first game after the break, Dundee United at home. I don't want to get to that stage, and we've got one of the goalkeeping coach in charge for the game or something stupid like that. You know, we need someone in now. We need to act. We've made mistakes. The owners have made mistakes, but now it's their time to act decisively. Get someone in, and let's move forward and put this disaster of 123 days behind us.
Final question, just quickly. Who do you think in the end made the call yesterday?
The Americans. No, saying that. I thought I was thinking Americans, but there was an interesting post on Follow saying that immediately after the game, Patrick Stewart went into the dressing room. You see them on the TV. On the TV pictures, you see them. and he spoke to the players, so maybe it was him. He'll know he's next.
I feel like Andrew Kavanagh was probably on his phone being like, end this now.
Get your ass in there and deal with it.
Looking at the videos, looking at the videos that were going on social media after the game midweek in Austria, like just looking at his mannerisms and the way he sort of carries himself, I feel like he's just not a decisive character. I feel like he's quite arrogant in a way. Like the decisions that he makes are sort of, you know, the best for the club. He's doing everything in the best interest of the club, and not really taking. He knows better. He's not really taking responsibility. Not really owning up to his mistakes. The way he was speaking to one of the supporters, saying, you know, "Oh, do you want me to shout back at you?" and just those sort of comments. I'm like, you're not carrying yourself as a CEO of Glasgow Rangers should, in my opinion. You know, and I think he made a comment as well about, like, well, who would you get then, sort of thing. You know, and I'm like,
that was such a terrible sentence.
Exactly, that is not how a CEO of Glasgow Rangers Football Club should be behaving. It doesn't matter if you've got a couple of supporters who have had enough and they're giving it to you. You got to hold yourself to a certain standard and accept it, and you know, and if I was him, I'd be apologising for the results, not trying to have a shouting match with him. So yeah, I don't feel like he's got the balls to be making that decision by himself. I feel like he's been forced into it, and he probably knows that his time's going to be coming to an end as well.
Some great comments tonight, guys. Interesting stuff. As soon as there's a new manager, we'll be back on anyway. We'll have to come on that day because the internet will be on fire. We don't know when that'll be, though. We'll be back on live in tomorrow night for our show where we can talk about the game on Sunday. Quite a lot to talk about in that as well. And any other news, because there could be news by tomorrow night. We never know. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. A quick shout out to the sponsors, the Black Bull Canvas Lang and iWork Cereal and Castle Milk. Thanks for the sponsorship and your support. And we're still on the 1.3 million in 28 days viewers on this page. So thanks to everybody that's watched us. I'll just double check, is there any comments came in that we've missed?
Can I just do a very, very quick shout out for something? Over the last few weeks, Gers TV started up its online esports community again on Discord. We've taken the online Rangers to the Division 2 out of 10 in just a couple of weeks. So we're on the rise with that. So if you want to get involved in FIFA, EAFC, Club Football Manager, etc., I'm posting the link right now. Feel free to join our Discord server and online gaming community. It certainly is better than real life at the moment.
And that's it on the screen, guys. So anybody's welcome to join that. If that's your thing, get involved in it. And I think that's us for the evening.
Good stuff.
Cool. Thank you very much, folks.
Happy Monday.
Hi, we are the people. Good night.
Cheers,